It does not include you folks in Russellville. You are to the north of that cell, but it does include you folks in Dover, Scottsville, Hector, Solo, Lost Corner, Tag, and up through Rupert as we take a look at what's happening with those winds. And like I said, this has a more impressive little couplet showing right there where you see the oranges and blues matching up. That certainly could be producing something, and we're starting to get a little bit higher in elevation, so the clouds being so low to the ground, that could be a brief weak spin-up tornado very close to the Hector area. So Hector, if you're watching us right now, you certainly need to take those tornado precautions at this time. Ed.
Yeah, that is right over Highway 7, Nathan, and it does look to be a little stronger than the one we showed you a moment ago moving into White County, but this is a dangerous storm. Everyone needs to seek shelter right away. Again, Highway 7 moving into northern Pope County. Do we have a speed on that?
I have an update too. If you're in Faulkner County right now, this is Sarah Portner, by the way. I'm back here too. Faulkner County is no longer in the warning zone. They canceled it for Faulkner County, but that warning is still continuing in towards just south of Heber Springs. So just an update on that storm.
All right, thank you, Sarah, for that. Yeah, the storm in Pope County here, a very strong indicator here that there could be a tornado. It is moving again, which way? Northeast at what? 35?
35, that's
35,
right. And
yeah.
it's, at 426 is when it was located. So now here at 428. So that's essentially still in the same spot, but moving northeast at 35.
Yeah. Solo, Nogo, Dabney, Chimes, Kay, Rocky Hill, all within the next 45 minutes to an hour, where some of these communities will be affected by this storm moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. It looks like the next storm in the path, it looks like it's moving just to the north of Hector. The next area will be the Bayou Bluff recreational area, and then into Solo, and possibly all the way up toward Tilly and Dabney, depending on if it takes an easterly track. But right now it's moving northeast at 35. So Retta, you will be in the path of this storm as well. That is Highway 27 in the eastern part of Pope County there.
Yeah, so Lost Corner is something else that's a town that I'm seeing with the warning underneath it. And you know, I'm looking at the streets and the roads here, and I can tell this is an area with some elevation change. So not a time to go outside, of course, and try to see what's out there. This is likely very low to the ground, so you're not going to see this coming. The best bet right now is to just really get a near safe spot. Not seeing a lot of lightning with this, so you're not going to hear it either. There's not a lot of associated thunder with this near Tag. If you are in your safe place right now, we need you to just hang tight. Granny Gap Road, that area, North Fork Road, Adams Mountain Road. You've got, let's see, Seymour Road. That area, if you are listening to me, you know, call your friends and family too up towards this way. I know it's Thanksgiving. That time of year, a lot of people are traveling along 27 and 7 up towards 164. They're just north of Dover. That's the area that we're watching for the rotation right now, Ed.
Thank you, Sarah. Nathan, yeah, let's go back to, I didn't want to forget about our friends there in southern Cleveland County. I don't see much of anything there from the reflectivity scan, although I do know technically that we're still under a warning until 4:45. But if you could turn on the velocity display, and if y'all could punch me up here, that would be great as well.
That cell is definitely weakening.
I was going to say.
It's definitely not showing rotation, so that warning, I think, will definitely be allowed to expire at 4:45, maybe even sooner than that. And you notice that there's no lightning showing up with this cell whatsoever. And as we take a look at the actual winds, we're not seeing that couplet anymore, and the winds have certainly come down quite a bit, but it still could be producing some gusty winds. Don't want to let your guard down. If you're watching us in Pangburn, pretty close to Heber Springs, Wilburn, you could still see winds of maybe 40, 50, 55 miles per hour. That could bring down some trees, and you can see some power outages as well.
We're certainly seeing that, Nathan, for sure, but that couplet definitely is gone. This storm will likely be expired early, or canceled, I should say, early. It's 4:31 now. Technically, it was in effect. It's in effect till 4:45, so we're going to continue to monitor that. Okay, so I have a feeling that storm is, for sure, it's weakening. Now the big game in town is what's going on here in northern Pope County. A possible tornado moving to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. This warning, again, is in effect until 5 o'clock this afternoon. And this is the kind of setup we're in, as Nathan described earlier, we have a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere, but there's not a lot of instability. We haven't seen a lot of sunshine. So when we get these spin-up tornadoes, they usually don't last that long. Can they do damage? Yes, of course. Yes, Nathan.
And they just canceled that tornado warning for Cleburne County and White County. So
Okay.
just like what we were talking about, it's weakened. It's no longer a threat to produce a tornado. But certainly it is going to be this cell in Pope
here.
County moving into Van Buren County. It's moving to the northeast about 45 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a track on here for you, Ed, and you can discuss that. I just had to get that number right. So there you go.
There you go. 438 Retta, 453 Dabney, 5 o'clock. Chimes, Crabtree at 5:07, and that's if the storm holds together, but you guys need to be prepared. All of these communities, Clinton 5:14, Oxley 5:24, and Partain at 5:31. So there's the storm. It's still showing significant, well, a little bit of a rotation here. Can you put the velocity back on there? Let's see if this thing is weakened or strengthened. I do see, oh yeah, it's still there. Obviously, right here is what we're looking at. This blue and this red area showing some strong rotation. Again, very low to the ground here at this stage. As we mentioned, these storms don't extend up into the atmosphere 40, 60,000 feet. They're not supercell tornadoes, but they are low-level rotations embedded in this line of thunderstorms. So if you're near Tag, Retta, anywhere along Highway 27, across eastern parts of Pope County, that's extreme eastern Pope County. Russellville, as he mentioned, not in the path. Dover, you're not in the path. This is the rural part of northeastern Pope County. If it holds together, then yeah, it'll cross Highway 27 and eventually move over toward Van Buren County. But that is still a pretty significant rotation that we're seeing there. It is past Highway 7. Just now moving past Tag, north of Hector. Hector, you're still only a couple miles to the south of this rotating thunderstorm. Retta, you are in the direct path. If you know anybody here, you need to call them, let them know a potential tornado or at least a dangerous windstorm is certainly headed their way. We have had no confirmations that I've heard of as far as spotters or indicating anything on the ground, but again, strong rotation.
The only thing that's changing, Ed, is they'll likely issue another tornado watch. They are in talks with the Storm Prediction Center, so I would expect a large part of Central Arkansas to be under a new tornado watch at any time, probably before 5 o'clock. So everybody in Central Arkansas, we do have the ingredients. I've been talking about it. I talked about it this weekend. We've got that wind energy. Yes, we didn't have any sun today, but we don't need the sun because we've got so much wind energy in place that these storms can rotate, and that's why we do have the potential of some storms producing some damaging winds. That's the main threat, but also a few storms could try to produce a brief weak spin-up tornado, and that's the case that we're looking at right now into Pope County, looking at a tight couplet. It's a weak couplet, so if there's something happening, it will be a tornado producing winds of 60, 70, maybe as high as 80 miles per hour. Sarah.
So you said that the watch you're talking to them with the SPC and stuff. So the Central Arkansas, it will be under the watch? Is that?
I'm saying that I think there will likely be the possibility of that happening.
You nailed that earlier when you said that. You're like, we were talking about the storm saying, wow, we're not surprised. We're surprised that the watch didn't enter into Central Arkansas because of the ingredients. And you nailed that earlier, Nathan. Good job.
Yeah, well, just looking at the environment, I mean, it's very favorable for the potential of producing spin-up tornadoes. So, Ed, we're going to go back to radar because we're still watching that one cell. As we take a look what's happening across the rest of the state, we do have other cells firing up, but certainly that one cell in Pope County has all my attention at this time because it's the strongest cell. It's got the most rotation with it, and it is moving through Pope County, and it will be moving into Van Buren County. I don't think it's going to weaken that much because we're just in that environment, Ed, that these storms are just feeding off this wind energy that is continuing to increase this evening.
Yeah, you were talking about that jet too, Nathan. Hey, are you seeing that cell behind that one with the red and blue type couplet there near Knoxville, just to the east of that? Are you watching that rotation, Nathan?
I'm trying to watch as much as I can. I'm just focusing on, Pope County. If you've got
got
something,
6 eyeballs on
The
this,
reason I say that is there's a thunderstorm, not tornado warned, but it is rotating. It's been rotating behind that same cell that was earlier.
You're talking here, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, just north of Interstate 40, you said near Knoxville?
So I've been watching that kind of try to squeeze together. So, even if you're no longer in the storm, if you're in that county, just be watching that storm as well.
Just to kind of continue with what we're talking about here, is that these storms, Nathan mentioned that the storm probably won't weaken quickly. This storm is all on its own. It's got a good inflow, all that low-level moisture feeding into it. The jet stream, the jet streak, I guess you could call it, is moving parallel to this. So this one probably won't die out as quickly as the one we just saw up in White County into Cleburne County. So the warning is still in effect till 5 o'clock. The storm will not affect you in Hector. It's just to your north, probably just a couple miles, but it is moving off into parts of northeast Pope County. Van Buren County, you're next in line. I don't know if it continues on the same trajectory. It'll be more into that Dabney, Rupert, Copeland, Woolham area. Here's Clinton right here on the far right hand of your screen. If this storm holds together, it's going to move across northwestern parts of Cleburne County. But yeah, still showing very strong rotation. And as Sarah mentioned, we're also watching what looked to be a little bit of rotation there near Augsburg.
That's a new supercell trying to develop, Ed.
Yeah, just north of London there in, that's also in Pope County. That also is north of Russellville, but it is headed toward Dover. Boy, yeah, there you go. A little bit of a couplet here, not a little one, but a significant couplet trying to form south of Augsburg. This is Highway 333, and there's the town of Dover. And I'm sure that's moving in that same path to the northeast at 35 miles an hour. But it's not a warning yet on it. That's what I wanted to make sure. But you're right, Sarah, when you saw that does look like something we're watching. Of course, the National Weather Service is watching that area as well. But the only current tornado warning in the state is what we're looking at here in northern parts of Pope County, about to cross Highway 27, just near the community of Retta. And then if it holds together, it'll move toward Dabney, which is in Van Buren County. But yeah, it looks like it's holding together pretty strong. A couple more lightning strikes there being detected as well.
Probably some hail in that, maybe small hail, but.
So this warning is until 5 o'clock. So there's about another 20 minutes. If you know anybody in this area up in Pope County, give them a call, let them know what's going on. Hopefully they are in their safe place, away from windows, on the lowest floor in their home or business, and just hang on to us. We'll keep you safe through this. But that we haven't had a confirmation that that's on the ground. But looking at the rotation, I would not be surprised if we see a tornado reported from this.
And you're also getting higher in elevation. And
yeah.
So when it normally would not be reaching the ground, since we're getting into the Ozarks, the hills, yeah, it could certainly make a brief touchdown if there is something there. But like what we've been saying, not a lot of lightning with this. I mean, only 3 lightning bolts in the past 5-10 minutes. So you might think you're just dealing with this shower, Solo, Lost Corner, Dabney, Rupert, but you could have the potential of a very quick but weak spin-up tornado that could make its way through your neck of the woods in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So we certainly want to take this situation seriously, and we're still watching that one lone cell very close to Dover. Mm-hmm. We've got a new tornado watch that has just been issued, so we'll be getting the details on that. Let me see if I have details on it just yet. I would think it would include most of central Arkansas.
Yeah, I would too.
And the counties included are Faulkner, we've got Arkansas County, into Pulaski County. So yeah, most of central Arkansas is included in this new tornado watch. Let me see if that's been issued for our graphics just yet as we take a look.
Sometimes it takes a few minutes. So just yell at me when that comes down.
It'll take like a minute, but we'll get that new watch up for you. So let's go back to radar.
Yeah. So again, the only game in town. I'm glad you showed this. It's out of all of our 75 counties, there's the one tornado threat currently. But we're watching that storm near Dover, which is just behind that system. We're watching that very closely as well. I would not be surprised if we see a warning issued on that. Not a lot of lightning. Haven't had a lot of reports of hail. Have not heard much about any damage yet. But the radar certainly does indicate that there's so much wind energy in the atmosphere that we can see these spin-ups. And there you see all the storms in motion. And to be honest with you, these showers in South Arkansas are not impressive at all. And it's this line in Northwest Arkansas that we've kind of been focused on for most of the afternoon. And I'm curious to see where the SPC or the Weather Service puts that new tornado watch. Because I do think, Nathan, it will include northern and northeastern parts of central Arkansas as well.
Let me see if that watch has been updated now.
Arkansas, Baxter, Cleburne, Conway, Faulkner, Fulton, Grant. Yep.
So that is the new tornado watch, and that goes until 10 o'clock as well.
Okay, so same time frame, 10 o'clock. And that's kind of what we've been thinking, 10, 11, maybe even as late as midnight for eastern Arkansas as this severe weather threat continues for the next several hours. No confirmations that we've heard of yet of damage or actual spotter identifications, but there's the tornado warning until 5 o'clock. All the counties in yellow, a tornado watch until 10 o'clock. So it does include a good part of north. It just basically bisects the central part and parts of eastern Arkansas until 10 o'clock. But there, let's take you in real close, real close. See if we can get some roads on here, guys, and see if we can kind of get a close-up view of what this rotation is doing up in northeastern Pope County. So yeah, just now about to cross Highway 27. This is just north of Bayou Bluff Recreational Area and Highway 27. Not a lot of big communities showing up. There's Lost Corner, and this is nowhere close to you. So this is Highway 27. We're looking at northeastern Pope County. Here's some roads for you. White Oak Mountain Road, White Oak Mountain, it's all White Oak Mountain Road right through that area. Dabney Road right there. Eventually, as it moves across the county line, Dabney is the next community that's in the path of this storm, and that, I believe, is in Van Buren County. Maybe Rupert, if it holds together, then moving near Highway 16. This does not appear to be close to affecting the city of Clinton. There's Clinton. Here's the storm. I don't think y'all told me it hadn't. The timing hadn't changed. Still moving northeast at 35, right? So
yeah, they haven't updated any of the movement. The northeast 45, yes, at 4:37 they updated the location of the storm near Hector, but that was at this point kind of old. But it's moving northeast at 45 in the latest update. Yeah.
Okay, and if it holds together, Sarah, I mean, that's going to be near Botkenburg, okay,
Right.
and around 520. So these are all the towns in the path moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. Technically, it is still, or officially, it is still in Pope County. But if you're watching from western parts of Van Buren County, be aware there's a potential tornado headed your way. There you see some other towns. Dabney at 4:53, and that's only about 8 minutes away. Crabtree at 5:08, Plant at 5:19, Oxley 5:25, Timbo at 5:36. So we're going to watch this again very, very closely. It hasn't shown signs of weakening. I don't know what the velocities are showing up there, Nathan, but it hasn't shown a lot of weakening, at least on the velocity display that I can tell.
Yeah, I'm looking at another piece of radar information, and the rotation looks like it's increasing somewhat, Ed, as it begins to approach the line of Pope County and Van Buren County. So this is still maintaining its strength. We don't have any confirmed reports that there is a tornado, but still, nonetheless, this is still a dangerous cell that could certainly be producing a quick spin-up tornado. So Dabney and Rupert, you are next in line. Copeland, Crabtree, you all need to take this situation very seriously because there could be certainly a storm capable of producing a tornado at any time headed in your direction. Botkenburg also, be on the lookout. I don't expect this storm to weaken because it just has nothing to really block the inflow. It's just feeding off the environment that we have in place with the warm temperatures. We've got this wind energy, and there's nothing developing to the south of it. So I do expect this tornado warning to continue through Van Buren County and maybe even into Stone County. So Stone County, you want to watch out for this cell as well over the next 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, Nathan, if we can take Max 2, guys, back in the production room. I want to just kind of give you, I'm getting a lot of social feedback here. First started with a phone call, but I think, just giving us a reboot here across the state. If you just take a state view here, we're not seeing anything. We just got a tornado watch in Pulaski County, not a warning. So just to keep those two terms very straight, you've got a picture, the statewide picture here of where the warning is, just near Clinton. But let's see if we can get Max 2 up. Maybe, maybe not.
They are working on that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to show you guys, just getting a lot of stuff on social media about, is this the only show in town at the moment? Yes, but not to say that nothing else is going to spin up along this line, pushing through Pope County and Van Buren County. Hot Springs, you're getting some rumbles of thunder right now, but that is not severe. I want to also bring this to your attention. Text us your pictures or reports. This is invaluable information. You can text us 501-376-1111. That should be easy. 1111 is our channel. 501-376-1111. Your reports and your pictures especially is fantastic. Even if you are in these areas that you are seeing under the warning here, it's going again till 5 o'clock. As you see that, even if you are near the area and you say, yeah, just some hail, loud wind, give us that report. You'd be amazed at the information that you guys can give us when we are doing radar analysis. 3 of us here, me, Nathan, and Ed here behind the screen showing you that, yeah, your reports are invaluable, so send them our way. Again, only warning right now in the state is there towards Van Buren, exiting Pope County, but it's still right there along the county line, and everything else, there's not even a severe thunderstorm warning, Ed, just that one warning.
And again, we're going to go, if we can get control again, we want to kind of do another storm track. The storm has actually picked up speed. And I want to point out a couple of things here. The warning is in effect till 5, okay? So that's about 10, 11 minutes from now. If you could zoom in just a little bit more there, thank you, Nathan. I want to point out a couple things. The storm is moving, it's still in its own environment, okay? And which is why I don't expect it to weaken very quickly. So there might be an extension on this tornado warning, but I do want to point out the fact that it is beginning to move kind of parallel to the flow of the storms kind of backing into this. So maybe in time, maybe within 30 minutes to an hour, that'll cause a little bit of the weakening of the rotation. But the storm is almost into Van Buren County. And again, as we've mentioned, it could eventually affect parts of Stone County. Anything new on that coming in?
I was just talking to Heather Cross from the National Weather Service about that second rotation that I mentioned 10, 15 minutes ago. She said, yes, they're watching that as well. Just kind of keeping that communication awesome. Our National Weather Service people are brilliant. Letting us know that there is that thunderstorm is trying to rotate, but right now it's still far too broad to be a tornado warning of any sort. So.
And I also want to point out, guys, that this rotation does now appear to be broadening a little bit. That's not to mean let your guard down, and that's not to indicate there's nothing going on here, but I don't see the tight couplet that we saw. That said, there's a lot of wind energy here, and there is rotation, but that tight couplet that we saw a little while ago, to me, appears to be diminishing. But as Nathan's pointed out, the radar beam in the mountains right there, may not be picking up the full story of what might be reaching the ground.
Yeah, because that radar beam is about 4,700 feet above the surface. So like what we've been saying, these are low top thunderstorms, so there could be something below happening below the radar beam for the most part. So we're still looking at a couplet. It's not as tight or strong as what we were seeing just a few minutes ago, but still, Dabney, Copeland, Woolham, you need to be on your guard, because this cell that does have the possibility of producing a brief weak spin-up tornado is headed in your direction. The tornado warning remains in place until 5 o'clock as I post that tornado warning here for you, just so you can take a look at what's happening. And we're going to continue to see, I think, the threat of these storms producing tornado warnings. It's going to be a busy night probably here in central Arkansas, just because any cells that do develop have that potential of producing a quick spin-up tornado. So that's why we do have a new tornado watch that has been extended to include a large part of the THV 11 viewing area. You check it out here. So that includes Yell County, Perry County, Pope County, into Conway, Van Buren, Cleburne, Searcy, Stone, Prairie, Lonoke, Pulaski, Saline, Jefferson, Grant, Arkansas, Cleveland, Lincoln, Deshay, Drew, Bradley, Calhoun, all the counties shaded in the yellow. You're under a tornado watch until 10 o'clock for this evening. So everybody needs to be weather aware in these areas. And as we take a look at the timeline, just to give you what we're thinking of when this severe weather threat will be over, I would expect that severe weather threat to be done for areas west of Hot Springs, areas Russellville to the west, by 9 o'clock. Most central Arkansas, we're going to continue to watch the threat of severe weather until 11 o'clock, and maybe as late as 1 o'clock in the morning for you folks into eastern parts of the state. But we are still watching this one cell. It's still producing rotation. Rotation has come down somewhat as it's right along, I'm looking at it, right along the line of Polk County and Van Buren County. But that's the only tornado warning. That's the only warning in effect at this time for the entire state of Arkansas, Ed.
Yeah, that's true. And this storm is about to cross over Highway 16 in extreme western Van Buren County. Sorry, Craig. And then it could affect Botkenberg if it holds on this track, and that would be in northern parts of Van Buren County. But as Nathan mentioned, Sarah mentioned, this warning is until 5 p.m., so we've got 6 minutes or so on it. We're going to stay with you through the duration of this tornado warning, but if you live in Dabney, Rupert, Copeland, seek shelter immediately. And if it does get extended, of course, then the areas downstream, downline, like into Stone County, will be affected. That rotation is still there, though. It's still holding up. So I just don't know if this is going to be canceled or expired at 5 o'clock. But we're going to stay with you as long as we have this threat. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to start our newscast. But I just don't know how much news we're going to have for you if we're still tracking severe weather across the state. But this is the only game in town, the only warning. And to me, guys, Sarah, Nathan, I mean, that still looks substantial as far as the structure.
Yeah, it's
of the
definitely a
storm.
supercell. I mean, you can clearly see the inflow, Ed, with that.
Oh yeah, right here. You're talking about right here.
Going into the storm just like that.
Wind
Here's the
going
outflow.
in, the outflow coming around here. There is rotation definitely there. So right over Dabney, just now crossing Highway 16. This is now in Van Buren County. The bulk of the supercell is in Van Buren County. So for the most part, it looks like things are clearing out of Polk County, unless the storm that we've been watching to the southwest has any redevelopment there. So that would be, what do you see on the radar there for the storm to the south near Hector? We hit getting any significant rotation near Hector?
We'll take a look at that.
Yeah,
just
let's
one
just say,
second.
because that's, again, Sarah mentioned talking to the Weather Service. They're watching it.
There's definitely some rotation there.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Still broader than
Scottsville.
the
Yeah,
other
still
one,
broad.
though. Broader? I don't know if that's a word, but again, guys, 501-376-1111. Text us your reports, whether it's pictures, maybe you're just hearing some thunder. Let us know. Invaluable resource here that we have new. So they are not planning to reissue the tornado warning for Van Buren and Pope as the rotation remains broad. So
Okay.
just came down.
All right, so we're still, again, what we're focused on right now is the storm in Van Buren County. Sarah just got information from the Weather Service. They're not planning on reissuing that. But one thing we have to be really clear about as we go through the next 4, 5, 6 hours, these things can spin up on a dime. These things can just pop up. And sometimes they don't last long, like the one we saw earlier when we first came on. This one has held its own for close to 45 minutes now. But hopefully, again, if they can, they will let that storm, that warning expire at 5 o'clock. The one that we have here now, pretty much affecting Van Buren County. Polk County, for now, in the clear. And what I mean by for now, this individual storm has now cleared Polk County. There are other showers and storms here. So we're not in the clear, and as we've showed you, the tornado watch in yellow for a good part of central and eastern Arkansas until 10 o'clock. This is kind of interesting to me. The rain, it's like a stratiform rain across parts of central and southwestern Arkansas. This is not severe. There are strong storms, none severe yet. There are strong storms developing on the back edge of this line. We'll have to see what they do, but I have a feeling these won't be as strong because of all this rain, all the stability going on in the atmosphere. There's wind energy, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of rain ahead of this. So the storms that we've seen produce these tornado warnings have pretty much been all on their own. Right now, the rain is moving into Little Rock. The drive home for your family and loved ones may be a little bit slow. Hopefully the traffic's not too bad out there. Again, here's the tornado watch. Mainly the eastern half of our state, and that is in effect until 10 p.m. tonight. We do expect the severe threat to go down quite a bit as we head into the early evening overnight hours. That warning still in effect. You can barely see it under the word Clinton right there. There's that red polygon. The only tornado warning that we have in the state right now, moving to the northeast. At last check, 45 miles an hour. I'd like to see another shot. I know you guys are busy. I'd like to see a little bit more of the rotation, see if this is strengthening or weakening just a little bit. When you get that chance to take us in a little bit closer there, take a look at the rotation. But I mentioned a minute ago how this line of showers and storms is kind of catching up to it. That could kind of tend to undercut this rotation and cause it to weaken pretty quickly. So we're about to take a look. So we've got this storm, we've got that one to the southwest of it that I'm kind of watching. Okay, so it just popped off the screen. So currently, they canceled it early. They canceled it, well, about 1 minute early, unless my watch is wrong. So now we're going to watch this storm, okay? We're going to watch the storm that's now moving to the southwest of that. And that is, again, moving kind of over the same areas. It's moving into, that's the first one, I'm sorry. That's the Van Buren County storm. This is the one that we kind of have to keep an eye on in Pope County near Hector, moving toward Retta. Again, very similar path. This one up here kind of moved in this vicinity. This one's just developing about 20 miles to the south of the exact same path. And it's again, not a warned storm, but there's significant rotation here, and we have to watch that closely. Near Retta, that again would be headed toward Lost Corner, eventually toward Dabney and Rupert as well. So Highway 27, the storm is about to cross. This that's a new tornado. Is that no? That wasn't a new tornado warning.
That was the old one, sorry.
That was the old one. I was going to say, that's till 5 o'clock. That's an old one. This tornado warning has been canceled. So currently there are no tornado warnings, none in the state. But I have a feeling that within a matter of minutes, we'll be back on the air here talking to you about the severe weather threat as we go into the early evening hours. So again, a lot of weather to be expected. This is the time of the year that this weather, severe weather, can kind of creep back up on you, especially in the fall months. But that's a look at the radar picture, folks. There's no other warnings to tell you about, but that tornado watch does continue until 10 o'clock this evening. We're going to start the news right now and be right back with more information. Stay with us.
Well, this time yesterday, we were warning you about darkening skies, and now they're here with a lot more going than just darkening skies.
Yep, our chief meteorologist Ed Buckner with the latest on the risk for severe weather.
Hey, there's Nathan. Hey, yeah. I'm here. We're all here. Sarah Fortner, Nathan Scott, myself, Ed Buckner. We're watching storms. Happy to report that there's not too much going on right now as far as warnings are concerned, but we are still watching the threat for these possible spin-up tornadoes. You can see across the state the movement is generally to the northeast from the southwest. I don't know if you have my show loaded, but if we could advance that and take a look real quick at what we can see as we go through time. Again, the tornado watch in yellow until 10 o'clock tonight. That was issued just a little bit ago. So most of eastern Arkansas under that threat for potential spin-up tornadoes. We've had no confirmation of anything reaching the ground. We've had no reports of damage, but the wind energy in this system does appear to be very, very strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see more in the way of tornado warnings. Our overall threat index, the whole state's under somewhat of a threat, but the highest threat is across the eastern third of our state. That's a moderate to medium risk. The tornado threat, about 5% for the counties shaded in orange, within 25 miles of any given point. The damaging wind threat is just a little bit higher, and that's extended just a little bit farther toward the east. So guys, we're all through here. We're going to watch this. We will yell real loud if we have some information to pass along to you, but right now we'll throw it back to you, Craig.
The Little Rock City Board delays 2 highly anticipated votes because there were not enough board members present. The decisions on the 2020 budget and a proposal to restore glass